you definitely started Pi at an age older than I'd say most founders, probably. I think you were 44 or
Yeah.
something in that range when you founded the company. You don't see a lot of that. And so how was that process? How were you able to do that? Why do you think that we don't see more people doing it at that stage of their life?
Yeah. I have thought about this. I was 44, I'm 52 now. I'd never founded a company before. My co-founder actually is a little bit older than me. But he was a serial entrepreneur, right? He is a serial entrepreneur, right? So that's kind of like what he does. Uh, so I have a belief that anybody can found a company at any time. I don't want to say that like there's only a particular way or position you can be in order to found a company. But predominantly, it's going to be younger people who are less encumbered. They don't have the burn rate of, they don't have the financial burn rate. They don't have the family burn rate of, may not, and so forth, because it is really hard and really stressful to found a company. I was able to do it at 44 because I had made some money from the insurance acquisition. And my wife was not and doesn't work outside the home. And so I could, I had the ability to do it, to allocate my time and my focus in a very stressful situation. My kids were not super young. My youngest was 9 and so forth. And I have 2 others. Um, so I could do it because I had money and I had a support system that enabled me to do it. And so I think one of the reasons you don't see a lot of founders sort of in that middle zone or many older founders is because they may not have that money or that support system. I would not have been able to found this company if I didn't have the money or my wife also worked and I had to do, you know, a full, 50% share of the family duties. So I think that's that's the reality. It's unfortunate because it does limit the potential opportunities, I think, for founders, or it makes it way harder to do it. We got a lot of different reactions from investors in those early days of,
Really?
the grizzled gray guys coming in. Some will be like, I don't think so. You guys can't teach old dogs new tricks. And some would be, oh my gosh, this is great because you've seen all this stuff. You have the experience. And so obviously the ones who invested are the ones who kind of thought that, but we got a lot of, not overt, not explicit, but we got a lot of, I'm not sure you're going to be able to build a startup business because you're not 25 years old and college dropout kind of thing.
I actually think if you can do it, at least for me, how I feel is like when you get to whatever, I don't, the age exactly doesn't matter, but some amount of experience, you actually do. There's so many things you're better at. I mean, just from being in an industry, being, and if you have the right mindset, but it's hard. I'm working with a founder who's trying to start a company, but they have a family and they have kids and they have wife who works and they have and they have a really they're having a really hard time actually doing it because to replace a salary of $250,000 as like you're not going to do that the the startup founder day one, and that dynamic is kind of complicated, and I think to your it kind of sucks because there's a lot of people who have good ideas, who have been in the industry, who have that spirit, and the entrepreneurial spirit. So it's interesting, and I'm not surprised actually by the investor. Again, maybe not overt, but like there's there's probably a bias, in investors' minds, most likely.
I mean, they're in the business of pattern matching, right? And they're going to match against the patterns that they see has been successful, and so I don't begrudge that. But it was there, and it wasn't like it was, you know, most of the no's we got were like, yeah, I don't do insurance, like, which I get and understand. It's actually a really tough business to invest in.